That's right. We're on live. We're going to get this thing done one way or another. What's up to y'all?
Welcome to Third Eye Visions, y'all. We are live. Welcome. My name is Anthony Parker, and you are tuned into Third Eye Visions, where we motivate the blind, stimulate your mind, and welcome all kind. Today, I have two guests that's going to assist me with this topic today. From Seeing It Blind, Cindy, and my sidekick, Jinnenefer, from Jinnenefer's Open Book. Now, before I start, I made a little boo-boo, and they caught me in this. We're going to be, the topic is still going to be the same, but the word that we're going to be focusing on is called ableism. And I'm going to bring, before I do that, I want to make sure y'all subscribe. Make sure y'all hit the notification bell, subscribe to the channel, give us some feedback, tell us if you like it, don't like it, share. Also share the video. If you don't like it, maybe somebody else will. And if you do comment, let us know if you like this content. Let us know if you don't like it, if you like more of it, what have you. Again, my name is Anthony Parker, and I'm going to bring in my guest. Who wants to go first as I allow y'all to introduce you yourselves?
Everybody knows me.
Still, tell them who you are.
I'm Jinnenefer from Jinnenefer's Open Book, and I'm Anthony's, what am I to you?
Whatever you want to be today. What you want to be today?
I think I'll be the sidekick today.
Okay, sidekick. Okay, and we also have from Seeing It Blind. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Oh, yeah, hi guys. I'm Cindy from Seeing Blind, and goodness, yeah, I'm pretty new to this platform on YouTube, and my channel, it is all about supporting parents with disabilities and bringing awareness to, you know, the able-bodied people out there on how we do things and tips and tricks and hacks and recommendations. You know, I've had to learn a lot on my own, and I'm just like, gosh, you know, I want to give all the other parents out there a leg up and show them what's worked for me and hope that it helps them on their parenting journey, or, you know, or really, Anthony, I mean, gosh, there's so many people out there with disabilities that want to be parents, but are they're scared and they don't take that leap, but the desire is there. And so I want to encourage them. I want to give them the tools and food for thought that they need to, contribute and share their love and gifts to kids.
Okay, great. Definitely. So y'all need to check out her channel, and it's called Seeing It Blind, and I'm gonna allow them to.
Just blind, no it. Just
Seeing Blind. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Today we're going to be talking about ableism, and I'm gonna allow my guests to chime in and just give a little synopsis as to what ableism mean. I got it wrong in the title. I'm gonna go back and change it, and we're gonna move forward from there. And we're gonna talk about should people do that, why they do it, and things of that nature. So go ahead, Cindy. You have the floor, and we can make it happen.
Oh my. Okay. So, well, ableism first is just the definition of it is the discrimination against people with disabilities. And, you know, and just a heads up to everybody out there, the month of April is Ableism Awareness Month. So next month is huge to bring awareness to this issue. You know, it's like every other ism out there, racism, ageism, sexism, you know, ableism though is the least talked about in our society. You know, our culture does not like to talk about people with disabilities and focus and educate and bring awareness to it. And so I'm hoping to change that, because when I became a parent, and I'm legally blind, I never really experienced, I've been very blessed and fortunate. I've never really experienced outright, you know, discrimination. No one's outright told me I shouldn't be a parent. I think I've mentioned in some of my previous videos that it has been suggested to me that I only have one child, as if, because of my vision, two would be too much or something. I have no idea. But when I became a parent, that's when I really started seeing an uptick in just ableist statements. And when I started this whole mission this year to dedicate, my energy and support to my fellow parents with disabilities on my YouTube channel, I started just reading all of these testimonies and experiences from other people with just a variety of disabilities and the things that they have experienced and things that have been said to them. And just, I am amazed. I am utterly amazed that in today's culture, with today's mindset and just progressive thoughts, 30 years after ADA, the with Disabilities Act, it's been 30 years and still people every day, when people see a baby in a person's arms who is, obviously has some kind of disability, people still freak out. And I am just outraged on these parents' behalf. And
what's strange is that sometimes it's the family members who've known these people all their lives who freak out. Mm-hmm. And I've had that experience. Let me ask you, how many children do you have?
I have two. I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. Mm-hmm.
And are you married?
I am. I do have a husband. He is sighted.
Mm-hmm.
And however, he works a lot and he's currently getting his doctorate. So, there's a lot of times I do feel like a single parent, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
But yeah, I am a stay-at-home mom. I do it all, manage the house, manage the kids. Yeah.
And honestly enough, this is a new topic to me because I had spoken with a lady by the name of Elizabeth, and she was the first to bring this to my attention. And I was like, and she was telling me about how people look at people who are disabled as who are parents, look at them differently. They have people who think that they shouldn't parent. I was kind of floored because I had never heard this before, because I thought if you're blind, you have kids and things like that, it was no problem. But this is a serious matter, and I'm glad to be here with in the confines of both of y'all so we can discuss this and bring some light to this particular topic.
And I actually have never heard, I hadn't heard the term ableism until probably about 2 weeks ago. Someone wrote it in a group, and I was like, I've never even heard this word. I've never, thought to put a word towards what people do, or what I mean. And what's strange is that it's something that we experience. Like I said, I never put a term to it, and a lot of times we pretty much ignore. Well, I do anyway. I ignore those things. Sometimes it gets to me, but most of the time I ignore it. Here in Nevada, I just learned a couple of months ago they had to pass. I think a year ago they had to pass a Blind Parents Act to keep social services from taking blind and visually impaired people's children from them. And it started with one case in particular where they actually took this lady's baby from her from the hospital. They just took her. Yeah. And she got her back after a year. They had to really fight and hire lawyers, and the NFB stepped in and helped her along with that. And then they got this bill passed, and it was shocking to me because I adopted my baby when I was living in St. Louis, and it never occurred to me that someone could deny me a child. I shouldn't say it didn't occur to me, because I was actually prepared to have to fight to keep her. When I went to someone gave her to me, and I had to get power of attorney and then go through the adoption process. So I was prepared to have to do it, and I was excited and a little bit shocked that I did not have to fight. My the lawyers, the guardian ad litem, and the judge were actually very supportive, and the social worker who did the home studies, they were very supportive, and I was excited about that. So when I came here and I heard that they were taking people's children, I was like, oh, from my cold dead hands, if it was me, they would actually have to take my child because they would have to call the police.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I didn't know that that was, you know, a thing until I got here as far as children goes. But as
I
far
didn't
as
know anything either. And
yeah,
actually, Jennifer, I read a really disturbing fact the other day, and it is over 2/3 of states, like over the majority of the United States, it is by law legal for them to remove a child from their parents solely based on a disability. So, like, there doesn't have to be abuse, there doesn't have to be neglect or any evidence of wrongdoing. If there is a disability, then a parent can legally lose their right to their child in 2/3 of states.
and that's is what's so amazing to me about that is that there are so many parents who don't have a disability who are unfit, and they keep these kids, and these kids are being abused and neglected, whereas a person with a disability will probably be a better parent because we pay attention to detail. I've
That's
had
right.
people who were worried about me dropping my baby, you know, and they're not, they're what it is they're not paying attention. They don't notice that I walk a certain way when I'm carrying a baby. Like I pretty much walk sideways so that my so what if I bumped into anything, I'm gonna bump into it, you
Right.
know, and she's not
Your
going to
child.
get hurt. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
carried her around in a car seat. Some people carry their children around stores and stuff like that. I carry my baby around in a car seat just in case she got bumped or anything. She had that
Right.
protective shit. It was a nurse at my doctor's office when she got too big for a car seat. She was laughing. She said, I'm so not used to seeing her without her shell. You know what I mean? We take
What's that?
extra, huh?
Let me ask you all this. Maybe y'all can answer the. I'll pose it to Cindy first. What I mean, I know that. I mean, you said they passed a law that they can actually do this, but I forgot my train of thought. Oh, what I mean, this may not be the question, but it'll come to me later. What prompted them to start this? I mean, and oh, I know what it was. What differentiates them from, say, for instance, if I had a child, my child's not taken from me versus someone else. I mean, because like I said, I've never heard of this actually happen.
I think a lot of it happens when they're in cases of divorce, when there's a custody battle. I think that's where in the legal system you see a lot of the injustice and ableist, um, stances from the legal justice system is, when if they're like if for example, like if anything were to happen to my husband and I was a single mom, if a neighbor child called child protective services, if they knew I was legally blind and we were playing with the ball and the ball went in the street, if they got concerned or something that I wouldn't be able to see, that would be a legitimate child protective a CPS case that they could open on me, and based on my disability alone could lose my kids.
What is
No
so amazing
question.
about that too is that and I saw the video and they were talking about people calling social services. Again, I bring you back to a person who has no disability, and people see them abusing a child and they don't want to get involved. But if they see a person with disability playing with their child safely and they want to call social service. So here's my question. In your research, have you found, other than what I just told you about them passing the bill here, is anyone trying to do anything to stop that?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there are, if you search YouTube, just keeping it, loyal to this platform. If you search YouTube for ableism videos, there's tons of them, and there are more and more discussions. And I think, especially in the autism community, they are really they're doing good and making a lot of progress, I think, in bringing awareness to this term because it is not used in our society and culture. It has been around for years, but like you say, we've not heard of it because no one talks about it. And so I think, you know, just joining our voice to the choir, you know, like I say, next month is Ablism Awareness Month. And so I've got my challenges coming up. I'm going to try to post something every, like Monday through Friday, 5 days a week. I'm going to put up like a minute, 2 minute video trying to put a fact about ableism out there, or some kind of something enriching to everybody, whether it's motivation, a quote, a testimony, something, just to bring awareness to this term, because I think that's the number one fight, is letting our culture and society know that, hey guys, we are so focused on ageism and sexism and racism and everything like that. But hey guys, don't forget, ableism is still just as present in our culture today, despite all the ADA laws that protect us. There's still so many laws that don't protect and extend to parents. So I think joining that army, joining our voice to the choir, helping to educate our community and let people know, hey, you know, just so you know, that was kind of an ableist statement. You know, you might want to reframe, you know, you might want to restate that, or just, you know, inform
And
people.
like you said, educate. Tell people,
Yes.
let people see what you can do, and tell people what you can do, and like just go out there and show them. And I say that I always encourage people to educate. People get really angry because a lot of people don't know any better, and they'll say the wrong thing or they'll do the wrong thing, and they think they're being helpful, but they don't know any better. And instead of getting angry and getting on the offense about it, educate, teach them, because they don't know if you don't teach them. And I always encourage people, sighted people, everyone, ask questions, don't make assumptions, ask questions.
Now, does
You
able
know, I think it's important too to ask your questions from a standpoint of ability and not from a negative standpoint of disability, because that's part of the issue, right? Everyone sees the disability before they see our ability.
Right.
And so people don't realize that if you approach your questions from the negative, you know, cultural stigmas that we're raised with in today's culture, if you approach it with that viewpoint of the disability first, it is going to come out wrong. And so that's how I try to educate everyone and let them know, like, hey, assume, you know, ask what my preferences are. Can you see pictures on an iPhone? Instead of like handing me the iPhone and saying, oh, can you see this? Instead, just say, do you prefer me to describe it, or do you want me to try to show you? You know, like, I don't know, but I just feel like so many people approach me with questions of like, well, are you sure you can do that? Like from a perspective of doubt. So anyway, that's my 2 cents about that.
Now, I want to ask this question. Maybe y'all can answer this. Maybe or maybe not. But how? Suppose I know we're speaking about little children. What about someone who's visually impaired, or maybe impaired in other way, shapes, or form, that may be watching over some, like an adult, and people feel that they can't do that or can't do that, whatever the case may be? Have y'all heard of any cases like that? Maybe that person being removed from the setting because they're visually impaired or impaired, and they can't watch that particular person, maybe a cousin or mom or dad or something like that.
I don't know. You know, I know. So my background is actually a music therapist, and I specialized in pediatrics.
Okay.
And so in my career, I've always worked with children, and you know, being legally blind the whole time. And you know, I've worked in the NICU with little bitty tiny babies with wires and breathing tubes and feeding tubes everywhere. And I've done it, and I figured it out. You know, I've always worked with kids, and I have come across facilities that, of course, because of ADA laws, they were very careful and mindful what they said to me.
Mm-hmm.
However, I didn't get the job, and you can't help but think in the back of your head, okay, did they not hire me? Did they not want me in this setting? because of my disability. And, you know, I don't want to assume, just like I'm asking that of them, you know, that road goes two ways. I don't want to just assume that I didn't get the job because of my disability, or, you know, my like I disclose that I don't drive, and so, you know, transportation is something that is an issue. And but you know, I am transparent as much as I can be in those situations, and I don't want to assume that I didn't get hired or I wasn't placed in a setting because of my disability. But in the back of your head, of course, you wonder, okay, do they not get it? Do they need more education? Is there anything I can do or say to reassure them that I am just as capable of watching and caring for any age, whether it is an infant or a geriatric person?
That's right.
I don't care how old you are. It doesn't matter. We are fully capable of being every bit as good of a caregiver as anyone else. Now, can I like load up a needle and do a nursing job? No.
Right.
You know, limits and strengths. But, you know, yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard of any specific testimony of anyone being removed from caregiving solely based on that. But, you know,
And in those in those cases, unfortunately, we have to, if with a elderly person or a child, we have to fight back and don't just allow them to do that, and that costs money. You know, you have to get a lawyer and everything, but you have to do something. Even if you go to, you know, an organization like the NFB or someone else, like, just to get some, you know, they might be able to help some kind of way, but you have to get some backing, and you have to fight back, and don't just allow people to do that with any ism. And
right.
you know, like you said, this is, we're talking about this particular one, but with any ism, you have to fight back, and you're seeing that in the world. Everybody's fighting against racism and sexism, and you have to fight back with ableism. It's something that just, you have to fight back. You can't just let them walk all over you when you know that you're capable. Now, there are some cases, unfortunately, where people, children, have to be removed or should be removed. In those cases, unfortunately, again, with any ism, reflects upon whatever you're like with the disability or something like that. If they're removing a child because that child is not being taken care of, because you know, that child is being abused or neglected, or that parent really is incapable of being a parent, it's a reflection on us, unfortunately, and it makes the fight that much harder. But again, I use that with any ism, you know what I mean? Like racism, you know, every time a African American person is arrested for doing something, that reflects poorly upon African Americans. You know what I mean?
Generalize.
Yeah, any ism is what I'm saying. So, and it makes that fight that much harder, but we can't stop because of that. We have too much to, especially if you have something to fight for. Like I said, I will go to a courtroom with 3 lawyers that I cannot afford over my child. That's my heart. She is the air I breathe, and you can't have her. She's mine.
And you know, I think that's the important thing to distinguish is, like, just like with any ism, every disability, I mean, and there's a huge spectrum of disabilities, right? From invisible ones to physical to mental, psychological. You have to, unfortunately, look at them an individual basis, an individual case. And unfortunately, the way the law and society looks at this, it's like a blanket rule. It's generalized. If you have X disability, well, then you can't take care of kids. When that's not true. I mean, let's be realistic. Some people are impacted more so than others. Some people still have plenty of love. They're still capable of giving a nourishing, protecting, guiding, teaching environment, and capable of raising well-rounded kids, versus someone with the exact same disability may not be able to. And so, like, yeah, let's be realistic. Not everybody is built to be a good parent. But that's true regardless of disability or not. So yeah, you got to look at it from an individual basis and not the way the law currently is written, which is like a blanket. It just covers everybody. So yeah, that's a good point.
Because as we come to a conclusion, I mean, I'm not a female, but to tell a female who's visually impaired or impaired in what other way, shape, or form, after carrying a child for 9 months, that you raise this child because of this disability or whatnot. I mean, I can imagine how she feels. Believe me. So I'm definitely. I'm against it in all ways, especially as a male. If they come to see, if someone would have come over and see how my child is, how I raise him, I'm as a blind person, they'd be like, wow, So it definitely depends on each individual case, and that definitely is a great point that you all have made. So in conclusion, I'm gonna allow you all to sum up with y'all what we talked about. Give them again the definition of ableism, and we'll close out after you all give y'all channels where people can find y'all. Go ahead.
Me first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, so again, I'm Cindy with Seeing Blind. And yeah, like I said, ableism is just something I've become very passionate about because I've seen some tweets, and this is something we haven't really touched on, but just to throw that out there, I saw some tweets of so many parents so many people that want to be parents, but they are too afraid to have children because of the way the laws and ableism is in our society. And ableism is the discrimination against people with disabilities. They already probably experience enough ableism in their life. And so to add a baby onto the situation, it just magnifies that, and they're just afraid to take that leap, even though it is their heart desire. So if anyone out there is watching, if you want to be a parent and you have a disability and you still feel like you have so much love to give and a nourishing environment and can really raise a child, then oh my gosh, go for it. I recommend it. It is every bit your right to be a good parent as anyone else without a disability. So again, guys, I hope for the month of April, I'm going to try to do this challenge, y'all. I'm going to try to upload some kind of video Monday through Friday.
Take part in it.
Bring awareness to ableism and get it in the culture, help get that term out in my circles, and yeah, just bring awareness, because not very many people, our society, we just don't want to talk about it, right?
I'm down. I'm definitely down for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, Jen.
You guys, again, know me, Jinnenefer from Jinnenefer's Open Book, JINNERFER''S Open Book. Come see me. I'm talking about a little bit of everything. And you can always catch me over here with Anthony.
And
check out Cindy.
I
Make sure you check out Cindy.
I feel I have a new friend, and Seeing It Blind. Sorry, I got it wrong at the top because so many things that I'm doing, making no excuses. But I'm glad that she was able to give us her time and what have you. Y'all go check out all these channels. Believe me, not just mine, but check out everybody, because we love collaborating, and whatever ideas I can't come up with, Jinnenefer may have something, Cindy may have something, or the next person. So hey, it's all in the collaboration state. Go ahead. Cindy.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Anthony, for letting me do this. So I've enjoyed it.
Okay, I'm glad you did. And with that being said, y'all, thanks for subscribing. Thanks for commenting. Again, if you're gonna comment, leave some really good comments. We're gonna hit y'all back and put their links in the description and whatnot. And with that being said, thank you, Jennifer, and I am out. Okay.